and I welcome anybody's comments. I'd welcome anybody's comments. Sorry, I got interrupted by a message. The first area that I think we could look at is just simply airport operations. Is there anything that could be done from the operational standpoint of O'Hare that could be done that would have an impact on daytime noise? I'll throw that out to the group. If anybody has any thoughts, please share at this point.
Yes, Ernie, as far as we're concerned, our 39th ward, we're impacted by more of the arrival stream coming down new 27C down Peterson Avenue, and that affects most of the ward, but a little bit on the south end of the ward too. Just, the biggest complaints we're getting are just, excuse me, especially when we're in West Flow, the preponderance of operations coming in on those runways, and people are just wondering why it's not more dispersed and not realizing that we are fairly well dispersed coming in and over those runways. And I guess one of the things that I've always wondered about is the tolerances for landing with a tailwind, and we try to tell the flight controllers to if we are in a mild wind regime to maybe use east flow more. I'm not sure if that happens. I'm not sure if we are able to get them to do that as often as we'd like. So that's something maybe we could take a look at is maybe in light wind regimes, using more of the east flow to balance out the east flow versus west flow situation.
Peter, thank you. I think that's a great point, and certainly one this committee could discuss. I want to just acknowledge Ryan Anderson from Landerman Brown, who has joined us and is going to be an integral part of this committee. Ryan, thank you for taking the time, and I appreciate the fact of your willingness to want to be a part of this.
Of course, happy to be here. I know this is something the commission has not really discussed in detail in the past. A lot of our focus has been on nighttime operations. And so daytime operations, I think, is something, at least for this committee and for the commission as a whole, is going to be the things we're going to be talking about is going to be very educational and getting a real sense of how the airport operates during the day, why it operates that way, and some of the challenges we may run into in trying to explore ways to reduce noise impacts. But I think there is something to be said about trying to bring a better balance to the operations. We have a very robust airfield with a lot of runways, and so getting a better understanding of how those runways are used and how we may better balance the airport with the communities surrounding O'Hare is definitely worth looking into.
Great, thanks, Ryan. Your input, as always, is a critical part of this, and so again, thank you for taking the time and being a part, and not just Ryan, of course, but everyone at both L&B and also CDA. Your efforts are appreciated. Again, I just came up with three things that I thought off the top of my head would be areas that this committee could at least begin the discussion on. I don't want to limit it to those. We talked about airport operation, and Peter's comments were very germane to that discussion. The second area, and perhaps one of the actual more critical, is aircraft technology, and having discussions about that and being an advocate to not only make power plants, but also airframes as aerodynamic and as quiet as possible. And I think that's something that we should discuss as well. And I would open it up to anybody in the committee to put their 2 cents in regards to that area and how we must address it.
Ernie, it's me again. Just thought about that, and just was wondering if aircraft design and has progressed over time. Aircraft have gotten quieter, and they've addressed this issue a little bit. But I've always often wondered whether it's going to take implementation of some stealth technology from the military into aircraft design, commercial aircraft design, before we can really, make a bigger dent into noise. Is that something that makes sense, or is that something that's way out in left field? I don't know.
Peter, I'll tell you honestly, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think it's an area that could be discussed. I happen to be in Florida for the month of February, and I'm down in the Destin area, which puts me close to both Eglin Air Force Base as well as Pensacola NAS, and the F-35 is headquartered at Eglin, and it's funny when they're operating that aircraft down here. It takes a while before you even realize it's there. They also have F-15s on the field, and when an F-15 comes flying by, you know it right away. So I don't discount that, and I don't think anything should be off limits in terms of our discussion. So I'd welcome that. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to put in on this area in regards to how the committee might address issues of technology?
I thought from one of the presentations we had a while ago is that they're also saying that the landing gear has a lot to do with the noise when they're coming in. I don't know if I heard it right or wrong, but that's something maybe that's interesting. I just found that interesting.
And Brian, I'll tell you that anything that disrupts the airflow makes noise, and the gear is a big part of drag on an airframe. So clearly that would be something that would be interesting to take up and see if there's issues in that area, which I guess would go to the whole landing profile thing, right? I mean, it's not just when the gear drops, but we've all heard this issue of glide slopes, and it's something that has come up in Fly Quiet Committee that we've talked about. What's the appropriate altitude do we go to before we allow them to start turning to their first waypoint? So that clearly has some play here as well.
Yes.
Anyone else?
I think Glenview is one of the newer members to the entire commission. So maybe if Ryan could help with like some of the history and do like a history lesson of the different noise profiles for the planes over time, what we expect on the horizon. And then I know at one point there had been discussion of the A320 and the whistle, and there were some widgets that were being installed on the planes, and where that's at with the A320s that are flying through O'Hare, if all of them have had that widget installed. I know the last update I think that we got, they were still in the process of doing that. I'm not sure where they are today.
Ryan, it sounds as if we're impacting your workload already, and we're about 14 minutes into the first committee meeting.
This is all, I think today is important to kind of just start framing up what direction this committee wants to go in and some of the topics you want to look into, and we can start kind of planning out all these topics over the upcoming meetings. And I think, everything everyone said is all really great things for us to explore.
Great, thanks, Ryan, and Michelle, thank you. One of the things that I want to mention is I'm working under the premise here that that maybe we can have some impact on some of these issues in regards to daytime noise, and if nothing else, at least we can investigate some things. I would be less than honest if I also didn't say that given the operation of O'Hare as we know it, which is obviously one of the world's busiest airports, and as I think probably most of you have read over the last couple of days, the cargo operation, if I saw it in terms of trade passing through O'Hare, was 25% higher on a dollar volume through November of last year compared to the year previous. So clearly, I think we should also think in terms of not only operations and technology as it relates to what we normally would think of, I believe, which is passenger traffic, but I think we have to look at the cargo side of it as well. And of course, it's not just cargo specifically to cargo planes, but also cargo that's carried on passenger traffic as well. So I think we need to keep that in mind. Anything else on the technology area that anybody would like to throw out on the table?
Yeah, this is Nunzio.
Go ahead,
Question.
Mayor.
A lot of this technology stuff, isn't it discussed at the technical committees already? Or I don't go to those meetings. I have one of my aldermen attend those meetings. So, I mean, I get some briefings, but I don't get all the details. But this sounds like we're getting very technical. Is that part of this, what we're going to look to do here, or what?
Mayor, I would say that I don't disagree with you at all. I think that's the reason that this committee is a subcommittee actually of tech. And so we'll be reporting back to Chairman Summers and the rest of tech committee on any of our findings. So I would say that, yeah, I think this is. Are you able to hear me, Mayor?
I don't.
Maura, can anybody hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right. Thanks. Mayor, I'm not sure if you
I
can
hear
or
you now.
can't hear me at this point.
Now I can hear you now.
Okay. What I was saying was this committee was formed as a subcommittee of tech. So I think that, yes, we probably will be somewhat technical in nature in dealing with some of these things, clearly in aircraft technology as well as operations. I've sat on tech committee now for a while. It is the area that a lot of this would come to in terms of technical, which is why I think Chairman Annunzio made this ad hoc committee technically no pun intended, sorry, a subcommittee of technical. So we will be reporting, if you will, up the chain of command to tech on anything that we come to terms with here. So I agree with you that we'll probably will be somewhat technical in nature in regards to these issues. Anything else from anyone in regards to technology? I'll move on to the last area, and this is something that I thought for some time could be part of not only this subcommittee or technical, but ONCC in general, which is trying to be an advocate for areas of federal policy. As we know, a lot of times in our roles as being representatives of our communities and the quadrants around the airport, I know at least I say it all the time, and I think all of you do as well, is the biggest way a constituent can have their voice heard is by contacting their federally elected officials. I think if we take some policy actions and make our voices heard, I think that certainly would help, and I'd welcome anybody's viewpoint on that, if you would.
I agree with you 100%. I think we should get some of our federal senators and if necessary, representatives come to the ONCC meetings and plead our case and hear what they have to say, because they're the ultimate decision makers over here. You know, the people at the FAA aren't going to do anything. We got to put the heat on the federal representatives. That's where it all lies.
Brian, I couldn't agree with you more. Go ahead. Somebody else.
I know that our congressional representative Quigley, he has sent a representative to most of the meetings. I know him. I know the representative. So they are listening. But you're right, though. It would be nice to have them really attend one of our sessions to see what's going on. Maybe not all the time, but at least once a year, and maybe address us a little bit on what they think might be done to help us out here with respect to this issue. I don't think that's ever happened since I've been on the commission, where we had our representative actually speak to the group, and I think that would be very useful.
If we could have one of them come to each meeting, a different one come to each meeting, I think we could keep the heat on them that way.
Peter and Brian, both good points, and I agree with those statements. I know Peter, Mary Ann from from Congressman Quigley's office used to attend the sessions all the time. I don't believe she's any longer with Congressman Quigley, but also Ann Lemjoko from Congresswoman Schakowsky's office has been at the meetings. But Peter, you're right. Brian, you're right. We rarely see the representatives actually attend any of these sessions, and that's a point well taken, and something that clearly, if we're going to start having discussions about how we might be able to be vocal on the policy area, clearly that can't hurt us, right? It can't hurt us at all to have those people attend. And Congressman Quigley, I know, is Peter is very active in the Quiet Skies Caucus, and so that goes to our entire discussion of what we're going to have here in regards of daytime noise. So I concur. Anybody else?
Well, just Ernie, just to correct the record, Marianne, I believe Marianne, you said was the representative from Quigley's office. Her successor has been attending. So there's a guy that's coming from his office. So he has been represented there. Because the reason I know that is because he used to work for the Alderman Lorino in the 39th Ward. So I know him personally, and he has been attending those meetings. So Quigley has had somebody there.
Great, Peter. Thank you for the clarification. I knew Marianne. I don't personally know the new representative. We'll have to become acquainted. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Unless anyone else has anything on issues regarding federal policy and how we might have impact there, I'll open it up to if anybody's thought of anything else. And look, there's nothing far-fetched of any ideas. So if anybody has anything that is on their mind that thinks we might want to try to attack here, please go ahead and share. Hearing nothing, does anybody have any idea of how we would want to take next steps? Obviously, I've taken some notes here.
I have one.
Go ahead, Mayor.
I get a lot of calls, people asking me questions about why is the south side of the airport at 60 to 75% usage a lot of times during the day. When we get those reports, the monthly reports, and naturally we had 3 runways, and now we're going to have 3 runways to the north. Are we going to look to distribute north and south airport like we're doing with the Fly Quiet?
I don't have an answer for you, Mayor, but I think it's something that we can ask the question of and see what the comments are. I don't know if that's because of runway configuration or approach pass or what, but clearly it's a good comment. Thank you. Does anyone have anything else?
I mean, it's something to add. A lot of this has to do with perception, and Ryan will probably get a chuckle out of this. We just had a couple complaints recently from both ends of the ward. The people in the north end complaining as to why all the planes are coming over the north airfield and not directed more to the south airfield. The guy in the south airfield said just the opposite. Just the opposite. He said, why are they coming over the south airfield, not the north airfield? So again, a lot of it is perception and maybe getting some of the data out to the people or whatever. But it's there's a lot of issues that we have to deal with respect to how the public views what we're doing here.
Peter, you couldn't have said it any better. I know Aaron has spoken before about the fact that when it comes to noise, if you see the airplane, you obviously you immediately think you hear the airplane, irrespective of what the decibel level is at whatever altitude the airplane that's flying over. So I think perception is a big part of it. I know that as far as Park Ridge is concerned, not to just pick on the constituents of the community I live in, but I know that as you said, the minute 27 Center opened up, we got a whole bunch more comments from people, and to the point is like, are they even using the South Airfield anymore? So especially at night, because it was being used until we reopened 9 right, 27 left. 27 center was not, and 9 center, depending on flow, was getting utilized all day long for both arrivals as well as departures. So, those people got kind of double barreled for a while. And so I agree with you. I think, and as Chairman Annunzio has said multiple times, we are the advocates of this information. And I know we encourage our constituents to file noise complaints with the city of Chicago, but I think in a lot of cases, we all know that we're the ones that get the calls a lot of times on those complaints, and they don't get filed with the city. We get hit with them as the representatives, not only ONCC, but also for our own constituency. So I think that if we do nothing else, I'm sure you've all said the same thing I've said to constituents, which is, you may not like my answer, but I will tell you that I'll try to be as truthful as I can to you about what I know is going on and what's happening and what you can do about it, even though you may not like the answer. So does anyone have anything else that they'd like to bring to the table? Very good. I'll leave it there for today. I encourage you all to think about, as the agenda says, next steps of where we're going to go from here and how we frame this. I think this has been a good start today. I wanted to keep this first meeting relatively brief and under a half an hour, which I think we've accomplished, unless people feel a desire to play Hollywood Squares for the rest of the morning on our screens here. If not, I will let you know that the next meeting, we're going to try to meet as the same schedule as most of ONCC and most of technical committee. I have purposely picked the dates that attempt to not have us have more than 1 or 2 meetings a week of anything regarding ONCC, and generally they will be on Thursdays at 9 o'clock. I will tell you that I concur with what's been said in a lot of our meetings, which is if we go past 45 or 50 minutes, people start to lose their train of thought just because it's too long. So we're going to try to hold to that as well. So our next meeting is going to be March 10th at 9 o'clock. I will assume, unless something radically happens, that it'll be a Zoom meeting as well. As much as I think all of us are very tired of Zoom meetings, would like to meet in person, I just see that that a month from now we'll probably be in the same spot. I will open it up now to anyone who has comments of other ONCC members. If anyone not on the committee has joined us, this is your time to have your comments. Maura, I don't see any raised hands unless I'm missing something here.
No, I don't see any either.
All right, thank you. And we'll now open it up from any members of the audience, non-ONCC. If you have any comments, this would be your time to bring issues to the table. And again, I see no hands raised, and I don't see anybody indicating they want to speak. But if you do, again, this is your time. If not, then, unless anyone has anything further, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Gazer, and second?
Second, Peter.
Peter Bialek, thank you. A motion and a second. Maura, would you please call the roll?
Ernie Kosauer,
Yes.
Michelle House,
Yes.
Brian Gazer,
Yes.
Peter Bialek,
Yes.
and Mayor Police. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll
Okay.
talk to you again in a month.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Larry.
all your
Good
time.
meeting.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See ya.